You guys are doing well. Wanted to do just a quick little run through about how I finish a neck. Some of the different methods that I've used and kind of what's going on with that. So there's two main methods that I've used with a neck. Now, to start off with, finishing a neck is a lot more straightforward than a body because, number one, you're dealing typically with maple. If you're doing like a fender bolt-on neck, which is kind of what I have always done, maple is a closed-grained wood. So if you look really close, come on, focus, buddy. You don't actually really see these big open grain marks, but then, like on the rosewood, you can actually see it. Just the fretboard. I have the front taped off, but the rosewood is an open grain wood. And basically, that just means that you have to fill the grain on an open grain wood. But on a closed grain wood, you don't have to do that, so you can just start finishing it right away. It's already presenting a flat surface. And so there's two main methods that I have used. Now, let's kind of start from the beginning. So when you get your neck in the mail, this is a neck I got from All Parts. I've also ordered from Warmouth. This is kind of my take on it. All Parts makes really, really just solid, kind of working man's, really quality, just more straightforward necks. If you want something of a more typical standard spec, then go All Parts. Specifically, I really have enjoyed their fat necks. So this is a TRO fat. T for telly, headstock, and heel joint. R for rosewood board. It could also be M for maple board. And then O is unfinished. I believe F would be the finished. And then fat is the neck carve. There's also like a more typical C. There's a few different ones. I really like the fat. And as you can see, this thing is huge. It's 1 inch thick all the way down. So when you get it in the mail, the first thing you're going to probably want to do is do a little bit of sanding. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I used for sanding. Sanding is just kind of a nature of the beast. You're going to want to do a little bit of sanding just because you want to get it nice and baby soft smooth. Now typically they come from the factory pretty good, so you don't need to do a lot, but a little bit helps. So I ended up using this guy right here. So this is what, 400 grit? So it's pretty light. I actually, on this neck, I had a previous finish on it that I wanted to undo and then redo a little differently just to see what it was like. So anyways, I started with a thicker grade and then I progressively got worse. But basically you just want to get it to the point where it's really, really smooth. You don't want to see any scratches or scuff marks or anything like that. You want it to be really smooth. So then the next step is to decide how you want to finish it. So I have done two different ways. One is with Tru Oil. So let's go ahead and find an example of that. That would be this guy right here. So Tru Oil, the advantage of Tru Oil is, number one, it's pretty cheap. So that neck. So I have a bottle of Tru Oil. Okay, that body right here, I've also finished in Tru Oil. I've got a bottle of Birchwood KC Tru Oil. Let's see if I can actually find it. Oh, it's around here somewhere. But the Birchwood KC Tru Oil is a fantastic product. I mean, for like $15, I got this big bottle. I've used it on a bunch of different necks and bodies. And the nice thing about it, too, is not only is it cheap, but it's easy to apply. It doesn't have any toxic fumes. You don't need to buy any spray equipment. You can basically just use your hand if you really want to and just wipe it on. It's very, very easy to do. And this was the result. So this neck I really, really like. Now as you can see, it's pretty uncolored. So this more pure, almost white. There's not a lot of gold or amber or yellowish tint to it. It has a very smooth satin feel, which I really enjoy. So it's never sticky. And you can see, I actually really took my time with this one. You can see it reflecting in the light. It is a little bit glossy. And that is definitely possible with Tru Oil. Now, the thing about Tru Oil, the downside, is that it takes a little bit more patience and a little bit more time and effort. So basically with Tru Oil, you end up applying like, I don't know, 10 to 40 very light coats. And so between each one, you do a little bit of very light sanding and apply another very light coat. So it's kind of a thing where if you apply a coat every 2 or 3 hours on a nice, relatively normal summer day, you could get it done in a few days, maybe a week. And so, if you have the ability to do that, it's really nice. But, if you can only do 1 coat a day over 40 days, that's a long time. So it just kind of depends. And really with Tru Oil, the more patient you are, the more coats, the more little tiny thin coats you put on, and the more attention you give it when you buff it, the better result you're going to get in the end. Now, let's contrast that with this. So this is what I'm using on this new neck. This is Guitar Re-Branch Nitrocellulose Lacquer. This is a tinted clear coat. So now this is what I used to finish this neck years and years ago. So this neck I did back when I was in college, which was probably 6 years or so years ago now. And you can see it's quite a bit more. I mean, first of all, this neck is older, so it's got a little bit of love to it, which is totally fine. But you can see it's got a little bit more of a yellow, honey, golden hue to it, and that's because I got the tinted lacquer. Now, this is also very smooth because I got the satin. You can get the gloss, but I chose to go with the satin. And this is not quite as baby soft smooth, but still very smooth. This is also a little bit more, like you can really feel that there's a finish, whereas the Tru Oil almost feels a little bit more like bare wood to my hands. So, kind of just wanted to give it a try. And so, with this neck was on this body. It was Tru Oil, but this was the first one that I did years ago, and it didn't turn out so well. It was more relatively thin. So what I did is I sanded off the Tru Oil down to bare wood, and I wanted to just start over from scratch, and I thought I would try the Re-Ranch just to see what it was like, just to kind of experiment. And so now with the Re-Ranch, with this Nitro, this really isn't so terribly difficult, but the main thing is that this stuff is pretty toxic, and so you have to have a place where you can spray it and also let it dry, where that's not a problem. So if you have like a garage or a backyard or something, that would be, a garage would probably be best so you don't get a lot of like dust and wind blowing on it. But when I was in college and in an apartment, that wasn't as feasible, so that's why the Tru Oil was so nice. But the Nitro is also pretty straightforward. I mean, you basically just spray it on with the spray can, and you're good to go. It's a little bit more expensive. I think it probably costs the same, but this is like a 16 ounce, whereas that other one is like a big, huge bottle. So you're not getting as much bang for your buck. And but as you can see from this neck, I think I put 5 coats. Yesterday, I think I did 3, and then this morning, I gave it a little bit of a quick little sand, and as you can see, this thing looks really good. And I'm really happy with it. So I would definitely recommend the Re-Ranch stuff. I think it's pretty quality. You can almost see a little bit of flaming this part of the neck. But anyways, I'm pretty happy with this stuff. I think it's a really nice product. And really with either method, it just kind of depends on which one fits your lifestyle and your scenario best. I think the Tru Oil is easier, it's cheaper, but it's a little bit more labor intensive. The Nitro is a little bit maybe more classic. It's like what Fender used to use, so it kind of harkens back to that, but you kind of need to have the right equipment and the right setup for it so that you don't fumigate your house or anything like crazy like that. But anyways, that's kind of been my experience with these 2 different finishes. You've got the Tru Oil and you've got the Nitrocellulose Lacquer on a neck, and I think they're both really viable choices. And so, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know your thoughts or questions or comments down below, and I'll see you soon. Bye.